Did you know that sometimes I play new video games? It may seem unbelievable or even blasphemous, but it is true. And in this video, we'll be going over the new games I most enjoyed in 2023, with the only guideline being that, well, they had to be actually released in some form in 2023. Otherwise, I'd just spend the whole video talking about Shenmue 3 and Tales of the Abyss and other old games. Alright, let's get started. Endlight is a game defined by its artistic insecurity. It makes many bold decisions and claims with its design, but also refuses to let the player experience them. When engaging with Endlight, you're met with ceaseless prodding from the developer, either in the form of tutorial signs or through the agonizingly in-depth narration of the options menu. You're not allowed to simply interpret the art, it interprets itself for you. You aren't even allowed to veer off track or struggle. If you struggle too much, Endlight forces you back into position. We wouldn't want you to stop having fun, now would we? Normally, this sort of heavy-handed audience retention scheming would make me groan in frustration, but with Endlight it's different. Because Endlight is supposed to be about a lot of inapproachable things. It's obtrusive to the eyes and ears, uncompromisingly unique, and oscillates rapidly between brutality and serenity. By all accounts, this should be the game least concerned with audience retention, but instead it seeks to please everyone and express its poetic soul simultaneously. And maybe that doesn't turn out so great, but it does make for something utterly captivating. Scarf is an entirely allegorical 3D platformer about the death and rebirth of individuality. It deals with themes of self-expression, freedom, creativity, and it deconstructs the Chosen One narrative in the process. It takes place in this luscious fantasy world where you slowly uncover a dark tyranny masquerading itself as innocence. Scarf opines that darkness is not wholly bad, that light is not wholly good, and that revolution is a necessity to preserve the spark of creation and exploration which resides within us all. We must do all that we can to retain our innocent rebelliousness and carve our own path through life. The gameplay is fairly standard platforming with light puzzle solving and a generally laid-back atmosphere. Any tension exclusively arises from the sinister undertones, and this game was criticized for its lack of innovation, but, you know, isn't it enough just to be gorgeous, meaningful, and functional? Is there anything wrong in doing what was done before as long as it is done well? If one is capable to approach Scarf on its own terms, it is stunningly beautiful, and I highly recommend it. SpongeBob SquarePants: The Cosmic Shake is a 3D platformer which feels ripped straight from the 6th generation of gaming. Flashy new graphics aside, it could have easily come out right alongside the likes of Scalar or Pac-Man World 3 back in the day. Or more appropriately, it might have launched beside Creature from the Krusty Krab, Battle for Bikini Bottom, and Truth or Square. Cause, well, SpongeBob has a legacy in the gaming medium. He was known for his highly creative, smartly designed 3D platforming adventures, which thoughtfully adapted the show's whimsical absurdity into a familiar genre. The Cosmic Shake feels like a natural evolution of those old titles. The levels are massive, the world themes are colorful and creative, the core platforming is fluid and exciting, and it borrows all the best elements from its predecessors. There are the wacky dream worlds of Creature from the Krusty Krab, the polished movement and combat from Battle for Bikini Bottom, the light Metroidvania mechanics from the movie game. You get the idea. Cosmic Shake is a celebration of what SpongeBob was, and also a forceful proclamation that, hey, there's still plenty of juice in the tank. It Comes in Waves is a slow, ponderous, narrative-driven experience. You play as a sinner seeking to atone for some grave mistake, and to do so you must traverse a vast, harsh desert alone. Water is scarce, drought raiders dot the horizon looking to kill you and loot your fresh corpse. Every resource is hard fought, there are silent stretches of nothing as you shamble from landmark to landmark, desperate to survive your journey. The game sort of defies genre. It is exploration focused in the sense that you must always be on the lookout for more water, weaponry, and serum, meticulously studying a variety of locales in the process. But it is just as much a walking simulator, a survival game, and a mystery drama. It is free of waypoints, free of objective markers, and it's uncompromising in its artistic vision. You walk through the desert, and you either live or you don't. It comes in waves is the sort of art I rarely see these days, especially for sale. It has a highly positive reception, much to my delight, and I can't think of any real flaws in its intent, design, or presentation. The only reason I haven't more to say about it is because I don't want to spoil it, which is quite unusual for me, yes, but it's like $2 on Steam. If it's interesting to you, give it a spin. You Can, Fan Man is a minimalist 3D platformer collectathon about a tiny fan man doing what he can. And what he can do at first is not a lot. You start this game without even the capacity to jump, and slowly over the course of its short playtime, you unlock a jump, double jump, a suck, blow, and super jump. The slow, steady introduction of each of these mechanics makes them feel impactful. It shows us all the ways in which we take them for granted, and when you finally have them, it feels like a breath of fresh air, like you've unlocked a whole new world. Each mechanic also gets very thorough exploration through the hazards and puzzles in the levels proper. They're tailor-made to squeeze everything they can from everything they can. You will learn to appreciate every nook and cranny of this game's bite-sized, meticulously mapped world. Much like it comes in waves, You Can, Fan Man is uncompromising, but it is not cruel or hopeless. As its title suggests, it is about the joy of perseverance and the rewarding rest which awaits you at your journey's conclusion. This game is free on itch.io if anyone's interested. Making a top 5 list of contemporary games felt strange, I won't lie. There are several games which impacted me emotionally and philosophically this year, Shenmue 3 and Tales of the Abyss most notably, but I'd already spoken about those at some length, and there's some meaningful challenge in finding new media to engage with. And it's not lost on me that most of the titles on this list feel older, you know? It comes in waves, Cosmic Shake, and You Can, Fan Man all utilize elements from the medium's past that I find particularly enjoyable. Minimalist art direction, clear design focus, limited mechanics, a straightforward challenge structure. Scarf and Endlight managed to carve their own unique paths without feeling retro, but of those two, Scarf is the only title which doesn't feel beholden to any displeasurable trends. And some could argue Scarf is as much a 6th-gen platformer as Cosmic Shake. But all that means, of course, is that I have preferences, and those preferences, while increasingly niche, clearly still belong somewhere in modern gaming.